The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.
Welcome back to the week of the UAB Director's Chair. He is the director, the athletic director for your UAB Blazers, wearing that beautiful Concord green. I love that. A little Go Blazers. How
All
you doing,
green
my
is
friend?
good. All green
all
is
green
good.
is good. You and I were, by the way, info at TonyCurryRadio.net, info at TonyCurryRadio.net. You can check out our podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast. We're available all over the place. And, of course, you can hear the show right here on the Tony Curry Radio Network. Prior to this, I was pulling up a story about SOS, strength of schedule. Strength of schedule is so weird because you ask 10 people, will give you strength of schedule, and you get 10 different answers. Certainly, before the season starts, the strength of schedule is going to be different prior to the season than it would at the end of the season because you've played teams. And so is the strength of schedule based on how good the team was last year? Is it based on who you played this year? Is it based on their win-loss record? So there's a million. But I will tell you this, a lot of people brought up the SOS last year because we had two group of five teams get into the top 12. You had Indiana, who didn't play anybody, but they won a national title. They didn't play Ohio State until in the regular season. They didn't play Michigan in the regular season. They floated by their schedule. It was the easiest Big Ten schedule you could get, but they won a national title. I'm not taking that away from them.
Yeah.
And then you had Notre Dame, who loses their first two games of the year, and everyone thought they were still one of the top 12 teams. They get snubbed and Alabama gets in. So this is what it's looking like, and this is based off a bunch of different parameters. Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, Northwestern, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Florida. That's their top 10. That's your top 10. It's 3 Big Ten teams and 7 SEC teams.
Yeah.
Until we have an expansion, and we're going with 12 again this next year, and I can't believe we're going with 12 again, and that was because Petiti and Sankey couldn't figure out what the hell they were doing. Since they're running the show, they couldn't get together on an idea of how they wanted to make this happen for both sides. No one else got a say in it. But yeah, as long as we're playing the strength of schedules and we're only going 12 teams, we're still going to be leaving some teams out, right?
Yeah. And, the strength of schedule used to be something that you could look at last year's team. You knew who was coming back. What was last year's record? What do they have returning? That determines how good we think that team's going to be. And there's a lot of guesswork in it now, given the way kids transfer around. People lose so much off their roster. You could have had a good year last year, but then you lose a ton of your players. And so we don't have any idea how good you're going to be this year. You might be better than you were last year based on what you bring in, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But yet you have to, you got to create the strength of schedule because you got to create a ranking or else you'll never get. You have to do something. So there are flaws in everything that we do, but it's the best system we have at the moment. And then, on the backside, what it does is it ultimately impacts the end of the season and how we think you did and what your strength of schedule really was.
Do you
the better measurement?
Do you do strength of schedule? This is you. If you were doing your own SOS, is it based on what a team is when you play them, or how they ended up being? In other words, you had Clemson last year, Penn State, 2 teams that were top 10 teams. A lot of teams played them early in the season. When you played them, it was a top 10 win, but obviously they weren't top 10 teams. How do you decipher that difference? And does your strength of schedule change then, or how does that go? Because I've heard
you lose a game, every time like if we beat Clemson and we go, oh my gosh, they were ranked 12th and we beat them, but then by the end of the year they're 3-9. Then it's not they're not 12th anymore.
Yeah. Well, a strength of schedule can change just like anything else. Your strength of schedule may be really good, and as at least
you always pull for, frankly, every team you play, you want them to win every other game.
Yeah,
because ultimately that means you built, you beat good teams. It impacts, and you want the same for your opponents. Like, I want everybody that we play, not only do I want them to win every game, but I want their opponents to win every other game, because it just makes their strength of schedule better, which means if we beat them, that means we beat a better team. So there is a cascading effect there between everybody that you play.
What's your thought? You look into the college football crystal ball. We going what 16 by next year? I'm assuming that they just can't
I
keep
mean,
the.
it sounds like it, but
It's not going more than
some
that,
people
right?
want to go to 24 because of
Yeah.
access, and I'm all for access, but I also would tell you that I don't think there's been a champion yet that I thought, man, they really aren't the best team. And that goes back to 1998 when the first year of the BCS championship happened.
Tennessee won that, didn't he?
They did beat
Yeah,
Florida State.
I sure did. Yeah.
But I never thought at the end of the year when the game ended that the best team wasn't the best team. And now that we do the playoff, one of the things I think is remarkable is you're going through the year and whether it's you're looking at Indiana or Oregon or Texas Tech or Ohio State, whatever, you think these teams are really good. And then when they do play each other at the end of the year, it's pretty startling how much better the best team is from even like the fourth team in the playoff. I think it's a dramatic difference. That's why they win.
Do you think because of the name, image, and likeness, and certainly the transfer portal and the millions and millions of dollars that are coming to these football teams, do you believe we're going to have more Indianas coming up in college football? I still can't believe that Indiana is our national
Yeah.
champion.
Well, I think,
They deserve it. They're great, and I cannot
yeah,
believe that Mendoza is going to be the number one pick in the draft later on tonight. That just
yeah.
blows my mind.
I think it's a huge advantage for the Big Ten because they have the largest alumni bases of anybody else,
Hmm.
and they have the largest alumni bases in the country, and therefore in theory, they have more people who could have interest to tap into for additional dollars to compensate players. And so I think there's a real advantage there. It used to be, who could build the fanciest facility? And now you still have to have nice facilities. That hasn't gone away for people who say, oh, that doesn't matter anymore. Well, not exactly. It's no longer the most important thing. The most
Yeah.
important thing is how much you're going to pay a player, but it's still important. Um, so to say, again, that doesn't matter completely is not true. But whoever can get the most money to buy a roster is who has the advantage, and that's why you look last year and you see that all of a sudden, whether it's football and basketball, the championships shifted to the Big Ten because I think they have more people to invest.
Yeah. Yeah, the Big Ten's got college football and basketball, don't they now?
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah. It hadn't had basketball in 25 years too, which is
yeah,
another thing that's just a head scratcher for sure. I'm sitting here looking at the toughness of schedule and Northwestern's in the top 10. And I'm thinking to myself, we can no longer sit there and say, yeah, they're not playing. But yeah, that was the argument all year long. They're not playing anybody. They're not playing anybody. Indiana, we did a show, and we were all waiting for that shoe to drop on Indiana, and it never fell. And I mean, they just got. And I'm not even going to say lightning in a bottle. They won a championship fair and square. They did it the way they did it. It was a great coach, great quarterback. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to make it I think it's going to make it exciting for college football fans because you may not see the blue bloods, the Alabamas.
you could see anybody is the point. I mean,
Yeah,
there are new factors that create that the money has created new factors that help determine who the best teams are, not historical success. And you look at Indiana last year, proved that historical success or lack thereof has nothing to do with it now. Now it's how much you got.
yeah. Speaking of facilities, you spoke last week about Bartow Arena going through some changes. We actually got a couple of emails, info at TonyCurryRadio.net. They caught on to the last part of that conversation. I know you have graduation coming up here in the next few weeks,
Yeah.
but when's the work on that start and when will it be
Yeah.
completed?
It's exciting. I mean, I can't tell you how dramatic it's going to be, the difference. There's no way for me to describe it to you until you see it. And it's going to be a dramatically positive improvement for all of our fans
Nice.
aesthetically when you walk in. I just think you're going to feel the history of the programs differently. I mean, right now there's not one photo of a former player in our entire concourse, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so you're going to feel that when you come through the doors. It's going to be dare I call it, elegant feel when you walk in. It's
Okay.
going to be a really beautiful place. The work has actually already started. So we have these graduations coming up, and our contractor, which is Stone Building here in Birmingham, they said, "Hey, look, we think we can go ahead and start running some electrical conduit around the kind of the walls and the ceiling of the place for we've got new lighting going in the concourse and some different power needs than we've had before." And they're like, "Hey, we can go ahead and start doing some of this. And if you have an event the next day, we can quickly clean up and get out. But we could go ahead and start some of this work." So some of that has already begun, and they even started painting. It's a primer at this point. It's not a
Hmm.
color, but it's the this basic white primer color. They've started painting the ceiling of the concourse this week. So there's
That
already some
that
work.
that right there will brighten it up. I mean, there's no doubt.
Well, and so here's what's funny. The interior wall, if you're walking around the concourse, the wall that you'd think of as the interior
Hmm.
closest to the court, that wall
Yeah.
will be white. And you go, "Well, what's it been?" It's been a gray color that I didn't think was that dark until they put the white on top of it like a sample. There's a sample in
Yeah.
there, and you go, "Holy cow, that is a major difference." But the ceiling is actually going to be black. And so it's this weird visual like illusion. And the architect showed us some samples of it at other schools that they had done it. It kind of makes the ceiling go away, and it makes it feel bigger in the oddest way. And I don't think that if we didn't have as much glass, remember we have glass on all four sides of the building. The outer wall of the building on all four
I,
sides is glass.
I didn't even realize that until you just said that because
Yeah.
it does not appear to look like that when you're inside because it is dark.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when it's dark outside, right? But the outer walls are glass. And so, but the inner wall is going to be white. So that's contrasting that black-white effect. And there's going to be they call them raker beams, but there's these diagonal beams that are they're on the ceiling of the concourse holding the upper deck up. Those will be white. But anyway, it's going to be a beautiful, very different look. And yeah, the lighting too, the lighting is really dim. So the lighting is what's going to probably be what you feel like. And that interior wall paint is what's going to brighten the place up. But we got a whole graphics package that we're still working on, like the finishing touches, but we have the general idea of what it's going to be. I think it's going to be great.
Often. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net, info at TonyCurryRadio.net. This is the UAB Director's Chair. He is the athletic director for your UAB Blazers. Mark Ingram, Steve in Southside. You probably know this, Steve. Wants to know, is there going to be another influx of European players in college hoops going into the 26-27 season? And this is interesting. What does a European call a European step?
A Euro
That's a
step.
good a Euro
I think
step. Yeah, does
they
a
probably
European
call
do
it
a
a
Euro
Euro
step,
step.
or is it just
Yeah,
a
they call
step
it a
for
Euro
them?
step.
They call it a Euro step. Okay,
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Do they call that
Like a
a?
my step. It's an
Yeah,
us step, a we step. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's a Euro step.
Have you have
Uh,
you have you kept track of the influx of European players coming over to
yeah,
get
there will
paychecks?
be more, let's just call it non-American players, whether they're European or Australian or from
Michigan had five transfers.
a
I don't think
continent.
any of them are European. Indiana had four guys from Europe on their squad. I mean, just
No,
look at the.
Indiana center is, I don't know where he's from. The guy, I mean, sorry, not Indiana, Michigan. You said Indiana.
Yeah,
Michigan center, he was not from America. I can't remember where he's from. The guy was like 7'4".
yeah,
Um,
huge.
Yeah, huge. But anyway, yes, the answer is yes. There's going to be a lot more foreign players because in the past, we're the only country that offers this opportunity to go to college and pay for college and play your sport in college. There are universities in Europe, but they don't have athletics. It's the different model. So guys that are really good at their sport and young ladies, they start playing for these clubs as, children and teenagers. And if they're really good and they excel, those clubs, almost like a youth organization, there's the 12-year-old team and the 14-year-old team, but then there becomes like an A and a B and a C kind of thing, and
Hmm.
like an elite, their most elite programs, and they get paid, and
Yeah.
and pay in the early years is we cover all the expenses of your trip, and you're playing against better competition. Then that turns into and we the housing and the meals, and then that over time becomes more than that, and yes, compensation, and so they get paid. Well, now that players in the United States are getting paid, especially what they're being paid. this is a more attractive model. In the
Hmm.
past, staying over there and playing was more attractive.
Yeah.
Not to everybody. It depends on what each individual person wants. Do they want to get a college degree or not? Do they want to go to the United States or not? Is that exciting or fun to them? But now that you can be paid, this is a more attractive situation to a lot of them. So you'll start to see some of these kids that in the past would have just stayed in Europe. You're going to start seeing them come to this country.
One of
And
the
again, Australia and countries in Africa and probably South America, all over the world.
yeah, some rock and roll news. We're going to get to that here in just a few minutes. So did you bring anything to the table with rock and roll? I told you to do some rock and roll thinking.
You did? You told me to do that?
Yeah, I did. Because I mean it's a little
My dog ate
downtime.
my homework, Tony. I don't.
Gotcha. Well, I've got something to bring to you, so I'll give it to you at the end of the show here.
Okay.
Um, I don't feel bad because I went to college there, but could you please tell the listening audience where one of the best players at UAB going into the season is going to be going to college next year? That would be Westry.
Yeah, Chance Westry got in the transfer portal and apparently has signed with Xavier, your alma mater.
Yes.
And I saw that Evan Chapman signed with Baylor, which is
Hmm.
good for him. That's close to his home. He's from down that way, so that's a good personal move. And Chance is from Pennsylvania. Cincinnati is closer to Harrisburg, is where he was from, PA. So, at this point, the way things have turned, we wish those guys well and wish them the best. Hope they have success. What we've seen in some sports is these guys will transfer. Yaxel Lindeborg, I think, is the extreme example that people are going to point to. All the money that he made, and he became the Big Ten Player of the Year, and he improved his draft stock, and he won the national title. That
Yeah.
is the
It's winner, 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 winner. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good for
like
him.
that's a unicorn of unicorn situations. What a lot of guys have seen is they leave here and they transfer somewhere else, and their minutes get cut in half. And I don't want that for them. I hope that they get the same amount of time and play
Well,
better than.
Chance will get some playing time in Xavier because I mean Xavier was not anything to boast about. They had one
But
of
we
their
don't
worst
know what
seasons.
they are. But Tony, that's irrelevant what they
Yeah.
were.
Well, I know.
I mean, they
It
could
is.
have 12 new players. I mean, who knows what they've got?
Well, I think
But
he was. I think he was
so
better than any of the starting five we had going into the season. But then again, the Big East had just had a really weird year. think only
again,
three teams got in.
I wish him the best. I hope it works
Yeah.
out. But a lot of these guys, there's an advantage that we shared with him, and we would with anybody. The advantage of staying is Yaxel Lindeborg. Yaxel could have left after his first year. He had opportunities to make twice what we paid, but he stayed here because he liked Birmingham. He liked our
Mhm.
staff. But when he played a second year in Andy's system, he stopped thinking, meaning he knew where he was supposed to be instinctively on offense and defense. And his numbers were better and he was more consistently good.
Yeah.
He didn't do this. He was consistently great. And that's what increased his value for Michigan.
Yeah, it
And
made me want to go back and actually look at tape of him, which I'm not a big tape guy, but I actually wanted to go back
yeah, you go watch
wow,
his.
was this kid that good? And he was that good at UAB.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd give anything that if he would have stayed, but he was
he
that
had a
good.
he had a great ability to put up like quiet numbers, a lot of tip ins and putbacks and
Mhm.
shots around the rim. Like has a great touch and like he made a lot of 3-pointers at Michigan. He made some here, but not nearly like there. His numbers here, you really predominantly came from around the rim and then a ton of rebounds because he's a great rebounder. But like he would sort of quietly dominate the game. Um, Yeah, he was a special player, and I hope
Yeah.
he gets drafted really high. Wish the best for him.
Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Dobbins in Southside wants to know if UAB basketball is going to be playing any special tournaments this year. I'm assuming this is a guy brought up the tournament you had. What was it, Nashville or Asheville a couple of years ago? That one that
Yep,
Santo and I went to. And we had such a good time. I love those tournaments, man. I love those. I'm trying to
yep,
think. It was West Virginia College of Charleston. I forget the other school was playing in there.
yep.
But I mean,
We'll do
just
it
to
again.
yeah. Those are huge. I don't know how the team travels. I don't know how the fan base travels. I know you'd much rather have a home game than have to be on the road, but you do get to play some teams normally you would not get a chance to play, and I think it's great
Right.
for the program. Yeah.
Yeah, there are preseason tournaments, and then there are these Thanksgiving week tournaments. And I don't know, I'm forgetting which was the one you went to. Was it the preseason? Not preseason, but like the first games of the
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure was.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do at least one of those. That they are commonly referred to as MTEs, multi-team events. People, it's not because it's not a tournament really. It's just a multi. You're trying to get games,
Yeah.
and you're right. It's an opportunity for us to get games against people that we struggle to schedule. And look, man, people just don't want to play us here in Bartow Arena.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. We try to get them, all the Power 4 teams to come here. They're not coming here because they know they might lose. They know Andy's a great coach. They get into our building with our fans and our students, and it could get rowdy, and they don't want that. Um, and so sometimes they will play us on a neutral site, like they'll go down to Legacy Arena downtown, and maybe
Yeah.
but that's even harder and harder to get people to do. So these multi-team events are different, and so we can get games there, and that's why we do them.
All right. Early this morning, 85-year-old rocker came out and acknowledged that he's going back on the road again to support his brand new country album. Would you like to take a stab at who this is? And I bet you've probably seen this guy play before. He's
I have not seen this.
he's a drummer,
Oh, my first guess was going to be like Ted Nugent. Um,
and Ted's not 85 yet.
no, but he's not young.
Yeah.
85. You got to tell me. I don't know.
Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr has just come out with a country album. And it sounds exactly like you'd think Ringo Starr on a country album would sound. It sounds like Hank Williams Senior a little bit. It's got some twang to it. It sounds like Ringo is just
Is
thinking
it
back.
British? It's like British twang.
It's weird. It's different. Now I don't know if he's going to be playing those songs in support because normally he brings on like the lead singer of Men at Work, and he's got all these different, and that's what makes it so good. He's got players from Toto, and that's what makes it so cool because
Yeah,
they play music from each and every one of these bands, so you're getting a plethora of all kinds of different types of music,
yeah.
which is really really cool. And of course you're getting Ringo. He plays some Beatles stuff as well, but
I don't remember Ringo being a very good singer.
no, and I
That's why he played the
again.
drums.
Yeah, and I still can't believe. I mean, he's 85. I mean, that's me plus 25 years. I just
Yeah.
kudos. I
Well,
mean, I don't care if you're still alive at 85 and you can still go on the road. Good for you. I'll
give the guy
support that.
credit for sure. Right. I don't know
I'll
how good
support
it's going to
that.
be, but I credit him for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. All right, anything else going on down there at Southside? Anyone needs to know anything about?
Yeah, man. Listen, our beach volleyball team. I know people. When you think of Birmingham, you think of the ocean. We have a beach volleyball team that's ranked in the top 25, and they finished the regular season, in second place. So they start a tournament today down in South Louisiana, Youngsville, Louisiana.
All right,
But they're the 2 seed in that tournament. It's the best season we've ever had in beach. They closed out the season with 14 straight victories, which is
nice.
also a record. And our baseball team and Casey Dunn they're killing it. They're currently tied for first place in the American Conference, which is
Nice.
amazing. And we ended up splitting with Alabama. I think Alabama, I haven't looked today. They're ranked 13th or 15th in the country. They came and played us at Regions Field last week. They beat us 12-6, 12-6. Then we went to Tuscaloosa on Tuesday and we beat them 11-2. So, my point is Alabama's really good, and so are we.
Yeah.
We beat a good team, and on May the 5th coming up, we're going to host Auburn at Regions Field. So I hope a lot of people come out for that. That'll be another great baseball game. But our
When is that
team is
game?
playing really well.
The UAB Auburn game. When is that?
Cinco de Mayo, May
What?
5th.
Oh,
Yep.
Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. I want to write that down because
Yep.
we may do
Down
that.
at Regions. Yep.
Okay.
Should be,
Fantastic.
if the weather's great, which it hopefully will be, fingers crossed. Both, Auburn fans we hope will come out. And I know they will. They support baseball really well there. And
Yeah.
If our UAB fans will come out and support our team, it should be a great environment. Be a lot of fun.
Love it. Hey, appreciate you, man. UAB Director's Chair, info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Keep those emails coming. Thank you, my friend. We'll catch up next week. You got some homework to do. Come up with a list of something. Do some rock and roll.
A list of something. All
I don't
right.
know. You did it a couple years ago, and it was like people loved it. Like
We
our
may have
top.
exhausted ourselves. We
Yeah, we did a lot.
we could go back through it. We could do it again. We could run it back.
Whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes
All
you
right.
happy. Thank you, my man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Tony. See you, pal.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.